Hi guys, and welcome once again to Curated Logic, where we try and up your brain game. Today's review is for a game that has been out since 2015, but despite this, I only came across it for the first time a couple of weeks ago. Dinosaur Polo Club's Mini Metro. Mini Metro is a game that can be played for hours and hours without completing it, and yet you never really feel like you have been doing anything but the same thing over and over. Despite this, unlike other repetitive titles, over the past fortnight I have wanted to come back to Mini Metro again and again, and thanks in large part to its oddly challenging but soothing gameplay, I already know it is a game that will remain in my rotation of titles I regularly play. The premise of Mini Metro is simple. You are the engineer in charge of designing the metro systems for cities around the world. Using the classic design of metro maps that started with London's Underground, you need to join stations along coloured metro lines in order to efficiently transport passengers from one station to another, making sure to limit overcrowding. Both stations and passengers can be one of a number of different shapes, with each passenger travelling to the nearest of the equivalently shaped stations. Basically, that is the game. There are a number of variations on this theme, either making the gameplay easier or harder, and you have to do a certain number of challenges in order to be able to unlock more city maps to play on, but at the core of it, the game is the same the whole way through. The reason that this worked for me, for the most part, is to do with the feeling I got whilst playing. Given that overcrowding at stations can lead to track and therefore level failure, the game does have inbuilt pressure points that I thought would bring out my anxiety something chronic. And yet, somehow, I never really felt that anxiety. If anything, the game gave me a greater sense of relaxation and calmness, even when I was scrambling to somehow get another locomotive to a station bursting at the seams with passengers. I think this unexpected, pleasurable experience comes from two main aspects of the game. The first is the aesthetics. The look of the game may be simple, but it is because of this simplicity and these types of maps being of a recognisable design for the large portion of the world who deal with metro travel on the daily, that it takes up very little cognitive power to comprehend and take in what you are presented with visually. So commonplace is this type of imagery, I never had to interpret what I was seeing. I just knew what it was, and this gave me a, possibly unwarranted, sense of ease and control over what was in front of me. This then added into the second aspect of the game that helped make it feel a more soothing experience, that being via the sense of content satisfaction that comes only from when something in life is functioning exactly how it is meant to. For me, within every level, there were a number of moments I was able to get everything running beautifully. And even though I knew that more stations were on their way to upset this balance, the fact that, at least for the beginning portion of each level, I was given that calming hit from such well-run perfection a number of times, when things did eventually go awry, any feelings of unease with the disorder were overwhelmed by all the order to which I had already been witness. When you complete some of the challenges in Mini Metro, not only can you unlock extra city maps, but the completion of some challenges will also unlock that same city map in Extreme Mode. The main differences Extreme Mode has compared to normal mode are that any tracks you place are permanent, and from my experience at least, there is a little less randomness to the positioning of stations in Extreme Mode. It may seem that these differences might balance each other out, but trust me, it is Extreme Mode for a reason, especially as you get further into the game. Outside these two primary modes of play, the game also offers Endless Mode, where stations never overcrowd and you can play and change lines to your heart's content. And Creative Mode, where you are in control of all of the system, including the positioning of stations. I can imagine these extra modes would be well loved by some players and could help refine strategy, but overall for me, they lacked anything I really wanted from the game and were basically just more of the same. Although, like I have said, overall the repetitiveness of the game didn't bother me, I did start playing every time with a wish for something small extra to choose from that wasn't just these two extra modes, like mini games that incorporate what you have learnt from the normal levels but in a different way. Adding something like this to break up constantly similar gameplay just a touch would have made that extra little variation that would have likely had me playing for longer each time I returned to the game. Now, there is a daily challenge mode which does provide something a little different in that you try to top the leaderboard within a 24-hour period. So this spoke to my competitive nature, but again, the actual gameplay is the same, and it is the gameplay that I wanted to have something a little different. Apart from that, there are only a couple of other points I think could have been improved upon. Although there is a tutorial about how to play, I think it would have been good to provide some lessons or hints peppered throughout the game, giving simple strategies to employ to improve a player's success rate, or at the very least, confirm with a player their methods. Yes, as you play more and try things out, you get a greater understanding of what works and what doesn't, and the challenges provided do help you learn, but still, I think getting some direct help, if you want it, from the game itself as to how to play better would have been a nice touch. Nevertheless, these small issues do not take away from the overall feeling and playability of the game that much, so I give Mini Metro a 7.5 out of 10. Whilst it isn't perfect and it is repetitive, it left me with a smile each time I played and made the time fly past really enjoyably. I hope you enjoyed that review of Mini Metro. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe to Curated Logic, and if you have an opinion on Mini Metro or there is a different game you want me to play, please let me know in the comments below. And if you want to continue upping your brain game, you can follow Curated Logic on any of the social listed above or below, or you can support us through Patreon. I hope wherever you are in the world you are keeping safe and happy. Until next time, keep upping your brain game and have fun. See ya.